EC3, welcome to the show, man.
Well, it's an honor to be here. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I'm excited to dive into this conversation. Obviously, having a mutual friend in Chris Van Vliet, you're a wrestler, man, right? And people now know I hit it for a long time. No shame in my game now, but I hit it for a long time that I'm a lifelong wrestling fan. Love the craft, love the business, love everything about it. And you're somebody I've seen grow massively over the last number of years, massively as far as changing your character, being seen by more people, getting your name out there, and really not only taking over NWA, but continuing to take over the indies and grow your brand. And I want to get into the business aspect of that. But before that, you and I are about the same age.
Yeah,
You,
I mean, like I said before we started, I don't know if I was cognitively prepared for a real conversation, but it seems like I'm on the spot. So let's do it.
it's going to be a good conversation. I believe in you. It'll be good. But before we get into all that stuff, look, you and I are around the same age. We were growing up in the height of the Attitude Era, which is well known as one of the most popular eras of wrestling. Was that where you got the bug? Like, let's go back to the beginning for you. What made you want to be a professional wrestler?
I would think the Attitude Era was the overall infection, but I think the bug was planted early from childhood. So we're talking Hulkamania, Ultimate Warrior, Mr. Perfect, Rick Rude kind of stuff, where I liked it, but I wasn't like obsessed with it because I liked everything. I liked baseball, I liked basketball, I liked football, I liked hockey, I liked wrestling. So, but I did like the dynamic characters. What I really liked were films and too, like so 80s movies were rocking Commando, you know, uh, Terminator, OG, Stallone, everything. I mean, if I did not turn my hat backwards and try to arm wrestle people when I was a young chap, like larger than life, I guess, uber male icons really attracted me. So wrestling was part of that. But then, Attitude Era, we're about late grade school to high school going into that. And that's, kind of where the hook was in. And it took you a long time to come out of the wrestling closet, and for that I commend you. But I was in it within high school where I'm still normal, but fairly popular. I'm an athlete, I'm a decent student, class clown, people like me. But I did openly admit to being a wrestling fan when a lot of people didn't. So within high school too, I had like two groups of friends. I had I don't want to call them normal friends because they're not normal at all. You should see them, they're train wrecks. But the studious people I'd play sports with and eat lunch with and things like that. And then, I had the wrestling friends who were kind of, I don't want to call them nerds, but I'm one and they were, and we were. So like I had those two dichotomies of friendship. And it was always interesting too, because I was very open with both of them and bringing them together into scenarios where sometimes the normal friends was, well, I just kind of like this wrestling, and they would come to like Raw with us and things like that, or come to our dumb ass backyard shows, where then I bring the other ones out of the shell of kind of like staying at home playing video games on a Friday night. Like, we're going to get some beer. You want to come? And so what I guess is I am a overall people bringer together. I'm like a guide of sorts. And I think we'll get into that with what I've been doing within the industry here too, but like bringing people together, controlling narratives, allowing people to, I guess, be their best selves.
Yeah, no, and I love that segue because I do want to talk about control your narrative and what it's become. The one thing about being an entrepreneur is we have grand ideas and sometimes they don't work out the way we want them to. But the people who are really good at what they do are able to take that idea and make it what it's supposed to be. So I want to talk a little bit about the evolution of create your narrative or control your narrative and kind of, how you first came up with the idea and then what it is now, which is really breeding the next level of high level wrestlers.
Yeah, it truly is as far as that. And that it was what it always should have been, what it always is, and what it always will be is the mindset. When they talk about wrestling, there's a famous Vince McMahon quote, we're making movies, pal. And in a sense, we are. But in reality, what are we? We're telling stories. Everything's a story. Storytelling is the oldest form of human communication. When people are drawn on the walls with their own shit, they were making stories up, right? So control your narrative. At the end of the day, at the beginning of the day, it was always about tell your story. Control your narrative. You have that freedom, that honor, that privilege to do it however you wanted to. So within the wrestling world, kind of the idea was I wanted to create a platform. We're in the middle of the pandemic. I just got fired from WWE. Life's changing. I'm trying to grow as a person. I'm a weirdo Pisces, so in theory, my art and my creativity is my therapy. Because if I don't have that and I don't do that, then I'm just a lost cause. So controlling your narrative was creating a character to tell my story in a sense, but in the same ways, incorporating it within this weird little niche world. When I got such good, great, I guess, personal relief from it and, felt some fulfillment, I thought bringing that open to other people would be a good idea. And that's what kind of spawned the little, I don't want to call them movies because they're not movies, the features we would put together and things of that nature. But then, like anything, when you get something involved in with other people that don't have that vision or that idea, it becomes about we're a business, are we making money? Or if it's in the wrestling world, it's immediately, oh, we're a promotion with the champions. And then, you get infiltrated with like TV executives or agents who make bold claims but don't do any work to put these things into action. And then it just kind of becomes like, well, we lost the point. And I noticed we lost the point a while ago. But at the same time, play big or go home. If you have an opportunity to do something, and if 50% of this comes through, it might be of value and it might be a thing that can create everlasting jobs and lives within the industry, that I have to see it through. And if it doesn't, well, we'll just go back to what it is. And, you're always loyal to those loyal to you. And I know who's loyal and I know who is about the real mission of it, the self-growth, the self-confidence, the self-actualization, I would say, and realize it as a mindset and not, this is a TV contract job on wrestling and I'm going to get more followers and I'm going to get more star ratings in my matches and my indie rate's going to go up $100. It's not what it's about. So it's really about taking, like anything you go through, to truly succeed, you have to suffer. And there's that's what I expect out of others because this is what I have done.
Mm. Yeah. And obviously talking about growth physically, professionally, all the things in between, it is about being able to get through those moments in life where you are suffering, right? Obviously, you're super fit. You've always been. And then I feel like every time I see you pop up somewhere, I'm like, he's even more fit now than he was before, which is wild.
Fucking psychopath. If I could say that, I will say it again. I'm a fucking crazy person with it. Obnoxiously add so where I could take days off. I feel horrible today. It is my off day. So I did cardio. I went and got treatment done. Then I did active recovery where I worked too hard. And now I feel even worse. Like I can't stop sometimes. I don't, it's probably another deep psychological thing, but I always treat that part with great respect. Part of it is the aesthetics. Part of it is the grind and the willing and the being able to put yourself through things when you don't have to, nor should you, nor you need to. It's kind of Goggins light mindset, I'd say, because I listened to a podcast with him and Huberman the other day.
I saw clips from it. Yeah.
Like, I'm nuts, but this guy's out of his gore. But like, I get what he's saying. He's like, you people won't even understand what I'm saying. And then people are like, I don't even understand what he's saying. He's crazy. And I'm like, no, I get it. But at the same time, I can maybe take a day off and not go run 100 miles with a torn ACL. That's crazy. But
Yeah.
what I did like about that podcast, which I didn't know, is Huberman talking about something within the brain when you force yourself to do something that sucks or you don't want to do or you hate. There's some sort of, I am not a neurologist, but growth within your mind that is like, people that have long lives and fulfilling lives seem to have this more so than people that don't. So I was like, oh, cool. Now there's other things I don't do that suck that I should do, and that's probably where the real growth would be, like, you know, paying attention to the money I spend or doing stupid cold showers and shit like that. But I love training. I love superhuman aesthetic. I love pushing myself. And I am a narcissist and I am very vain. And I do love the ideal that this voice of authority comes from somebody that looks like they can rip your fucking head off.
No, that makes sense. And I saw the clip from Huberman talking about that part of your brain that every time you get uncomfortable, like it grows. And then that has led to the study of you live longer, you live happier, you live all these other things. And then you mentioned cold showers. Like he's like, if you enjoy the cold plunge, he's like, you're not growing that part of your brain.
And I hate it. I hate it. From people get into it, and I get it, and I do feel a little bit better. But like every day since New Year, I'm looking at that shower in the morning when I'm taking my constitutional. I'm like, oh, I was gonna get in there for cold for a minute, and I'm like, ah. So I'll never like it. So maybe I should do it because I only have to do it for a minute, and I'll never like it. So then it'll always be good for me.
That's it, man. No, and it's so true. And obviously, you know, as I see your growth and in your character and your creation of who you are as a wrestler, you talk about controlling your narrative, right? Did a lot of that come from working with WWE where you had no control over who you were and how you were
Yeah,
presented?
yeah, 100%. So like when you're making more money than, I mean, we're not NFL athletes money, but like we're making good money when you reach kind of a penultimate goal and is not at all how you want it to be. It's like it's almost like you never wish you made it at times because it's so
Mm,
disheartening. If you're a creative person, if you understand the value of this is business and I'm making money and I don't care, then you actually have a far better shelf life, like a lot of people do. But when you're creative and money isn't your number one priority and it's completely stripped from you, yeah, it's difficult. And then upon the fact that one person's mindset in one moment of time based on one thing they didn't even watch dictated how my entire run was going to go, or I couldn't speak because I want to sound like a lame weatherman was like Vince's thing. Or that's that thing where he was probably looking passing at something he didn't made his mind up, and what that would do, the trickle down that had through months to years of my life because I wasn't able to do something I'm fairly good at, and that would have brought me to where I wanted to be. It was hard to stomach. So controlling your narrative in that sense was like, well, I'm just gonna go out and say and do whatever I want, and then let's let the chips fall where they may.
yeah, no, it's so true. And obviously, I think a lot of the lessons people can learn from these conversations is like taking control of your creative and being yourself authentically into what you're doing. That creates the success, whatever, however you define success. You know what I mean? Right? Like, and so you're much happier now working with NWA and being able to work in the indies and being yourself. So you've worked for three of the top four largest companies in wrestling, right? WWE, NWA, TNA, and then obviously there's AEW, right? So with those three, working with those three companies, what is the biggest difference working with somebody like Billy Corgan, working with Vince, working with I'm going to blank on her name, Carter, Dixie
Miss
Carter,
Aunt Dixie
and
Carter.
Dixie?
Uh, it all came at different points in my life and career with different levels of experience and confidence. So it's kind of hard to clarify them short of when I went to TNA originally, that was for my first run in the WWE where I was curbed out a little bit by what we talked about, but not nearly as much as the second time. But also, I don't know, there was a vendetta attached to it because I didn't get the shot. Like they hosed me and I was bare. All those complaints every wrestler always makes, which I do despise and loathe now, because there's plenty of things I probably should have and could have done to at least make myself, I don't know, put myself in that position to better attack what I wanted to. So I only blame myself now, which is something I learned later. But going into Impact, I knew that the only thing I would need was the opportunity. And when I came into Impact, I was a new guy under a new regime that I was going to have leeway to experiment and even to fail a little bit as long as I didn't totally shit the bed. So there was like that confidence where in WWE, especially developmental, every day you think like every day you're getting fired in your mind. It's just it's a horrible mindset. Every
Yeah.
day you're done. Every day. It's not a great way to live. And if you love and care about what you do, it's hard to take. If you don't, then it's like, whatever, cool. And I wish I had the other mindset, but I love what I do and I want to do this. And so when you think it's being taken away any day for one wrong misstep, one wrong word, you know, I don't know, you lock yourself in. But with impact coming in, I knew that within the boundaries they created, I can explore and collaborate and be who I am. And if I do these things now their way, I will garner their trust to where I can do them still their way, but with more influence. And that's kind of how it went. And that's why I was so successful. Also, we had Billy there for a time too. So working with him, he's an artist, he's collaborative. So after running through Impact, where I made myself the promise, so to speak, that no matter if I go back to WWE, no matter what happens, I'm not going to be the guy with the negative mindset. I'm not going to be the guy that says they're burying me. I'm not going to be the guy that gets mad. I'm not going to be the guy that mails it in. And then being on the main roster for a very short time, I was immediately in that mindset because everybody else in certain positions was in that mindset in the same way. And it really came down to two words that I hate saying, but nothing mattered. So whatever you're creating or contemplating or doing, even if you're collaborating with the creative, it can all change and it can all not matter. So one day, my arch nemesis, who's beaten my brother up, who's kissed my mother when she was chained, like this guy who's done horrible things to me, one day we could show up at TV and it's like, we're a tag team. And we're like, why? We're in the middle of a blood. Vince just wants it. But, so it's just like, well, fuck, that didn't matter. So putting a heart, soul, and effort into creating something to be good to great and having it not matter ever was hard to deal with. Being unable to even do anything you are capable of doing was hard to deal with. And then I had a pretty bad brain injury, CTE. I'm kidding, but was concussed for a while. When I got cleared from that, we're in the middle of a world-changing pandemic, and I'm fired. And well, that's that. So betting on self, doing the Ring of Honor and the CYN, but coming to NWA, like I know who I am now. I knew who I wanted to be. What I'm doing now with the character, the Overman, I had as an idea for a year prior to doing it. It's just about putting it in the right place in the right time. And though I'm very influential, I'm not going above, I don't know, my position to kind of pitch these things. I'm kind of taking what is given to me and putting my spin on it. And it's doing well enough that nobody's going to stop. They're going, I like, and it's spurring more ideas and more, again, the word collaboration is kind of big to me. So coming in with a year-long plan to get somewhere and to be something and not pulling the trigger early and it happening to work out, I don't know, that's just good manifestation. But at this point in my life and career, I'm extremely confident in there's a red light, a microphone, four sides of a ring, an opponent, a partner. Like we can make a story out of anything, and I can make a better story out of anything than most people can make out of being walked through how to tell a story.
I want to go back a little bit. You were talking about mindset when you went back to WWE and it was the nothing matters mindset. And you tried not to be that person, but you were surrounded by people who thought the same way. How do you keep yourself in the right mindset now, being aware of that situation as you grow and as you take different roles?
I don't know, a lot of it, there's a lot of fulfillment in personally succeeding, but then the things and the people I've been able to coach becoming successful or getting opportunities that they maybe would not have, or because of what we did do and create, they are somewhere now. There is fulfillment in that, even though it's not at all in a financial end for me, which is okay. But then there's times too, like, I don't know, the moon's been weird the past few weeks since the new year, right? 2024 is probably gonna be a disaster.
Yeah.
Where I've been, it's, I don't want to say overworked because I put it on myself, but in moments of exhaustion and like depletion of creativity and idea and almost care. And so one thing I notice about where I'm at in life and mindset, things like that, I need to find something else too that kind of, I don't know, inspires me and gets me going short of what I'm doing. And where I find the inspirations I do find, whether I'm reading books or watching movies or listening to music and writing promos and coming up with stories or characters for myself or other people, like everything I study or what's the word? Ingest. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thing I take in, I've kind of put towards that, where maybe everything I'm taking into, I can put somewhere else and another little bank and just try something different. So when this dries up, because now I'm sitting here like, holy shit, like, God, I got an interview today. Oh my God. I'm glad we're having this conversation because I needed it. That I can put my efforts into something else while my main source is still there and still fresh each time I take a stab at it.
Yeah, which leads me to something I wanted to ask you, right? You're busy. You're constantly working matches, you're constantly traveling. I posted on my Facebook page that I'm interviewing you. I was like, where are my wrestling fans at? What question should I ask? And somebody said you're going to be in Erie, Pennsylvania, which I'm in PA, not near Erie though. But you're all over the place. So how do you create the next thing or vision yourself out 5-10 years from now when you are that busy? Like you don't even have time to think.
Yeah, I'm what the Joker say? Like a dog chasing cars sometimes. Do I have a 5-year, 10-year plan? Do I see what I'll be in NWA or Exodus or in wrestling somewhere in 5 years? I don't really. What I've noticed is I do better when I follow my intuition and instincts and gut, and it kind of puts me on the path. But at the end of the day, too, I'm very I'm fucking unorganized. And yeah, you're gonna be in Erie. I'm like, I am. I mean, you're right. I don't know. Like I'm just scatterbrained as hell. So having, I guess, there's goals. They're very broad and they're very big. Like if you're fighting a war, the campaign's the most important part. So I know where it wants to go, but I don't know what skirmishes are going to lead to what battles, to which are going to lead to what, giant conflicts that are going to lead to the overall conclusion. So those kind of come and go. And every day, everything changes too, in a sense. So I need better foresight into the final goal, but I do like following my instincts because I think that's giving me the best results.
Yeah, no, and I love how you answered that because people ask me all the time, like, where do you see yourself in 5 years or 10 years? And I kind of freeze and I'm like, I'm not really sure. Like opportunity presents itself and I kind of feel into it. Does this make sense? Should I go this direction or not? Right. And that's kind of led me to here, which is, successful businesses, a great podcast, all these great things. But I then also go back to, should I have more vision? Should I understand where I'm going? Not really
Like,
sure.
right, like you don't know what's going to come where shit, I might move to El Salvador in a year and just hide. Like I might lose my mind. I might Van Gogh, just go away. Or, I might wind up, I bought a 4 bedroom in Louisville, Kentucky, because I was doing work with OVW and then I wanted to get involved in coaching and they built something great. Or I moved to Nashville to be executive with the NW. Like, I don't know, but those all sound cool,
Yeah.
especially the El Salvador.
They just hide away and get away from the crazy of the world, man. It's just getting weirder and weirder for sure. So let's talk you've mentioned Exodus a number of times. I've done some research on it. Talk a little bit about that project and kind of where it is now and how it's feeding into NWA and all that stuff.
Yeah, Exodus was just the extension to CYN because it needed a new rebrand and a new name after the fat was proverbially trimmed, but it's more was an idea of an independent promotion that had maybe more creative ideas. And that started too when I had the opportunity to come back to Cleveland, Ohio, and what I thought would be a thriving opening a school. Again, you associate yourself in business with people that don't do what they're supposed to do. So that did not happen as planned. But the plan still remains where the CYN would kind of be the training grounds of like wrestling beginners, people to be reconditioned from the bullshit they learned on the indies, or hopefully high level advanced television training from guys like myself who've been there and other people I bring in to like kind of create some sort of mega educational, continuing educational format for pro wrestling. Because I think one thing that's really staggers this industry is the complacency of us all. So, just a weird little lab of wrestling. That's what I wanted to create. But Exodus would be the independent promotion that kind of outsources that. So that's where the locals are coming in, learning the craft, hopefully, learning from the name talent I bring in and just how to do things, I think, the right way, business the right way, presentation the right way, matches the right way, as opposed to what they learn in the wild, wild west, the independent scene sometimes. Then Billy wanted to kind of reinstall territories as a kind of a new idea. And, he has a faith and trust in me. Saw what I was doing within our second show. We're affiliated with the NWA, which is great because those three letters carry some weight. Makes it sound cooler. It gives us some leeway to kind of have, that branding and then access to some of their talent as well. So it's a small, I don't know, it's not a small project, but we're running every 4 to 6 weeks. But with so many other things going on too, this was my opportunity to put people around me that really want this and want to build something. I can't do it all. So getting people within a business aspect to handle different aspects and kind of grow into these roles of leaders in different things within wrestling and business has been cool to watch. So we just had a meeting yesterday going over things and seeing people taking ownership of what it is they excel at, what they want to do, has been really cool to see, because I can't do it all, especially with what I have doing with the NWA, which what I have done with OVW, which are all the things that are needed to build what we're building here. So yeah, I'm busy.
So, I mean, obviously you're juggling a lot of things. And as you grow in the business, your vision, although you said, hey, I don't know where I want to be in 5-10 years, I think you do have a vision for these things as you begin to build out these projects. So how has your vision changed from when you broke into the business to how you view it now? Do you see yourself as more of a leader grooming the next? Or are you still like, no, I'm still chasing the EC3 name?
I'm still chasing something, as a legacy. The idea, my mind was to be a 3-time world heavyweight champion, and I did it. Okay. And I am the NWA champion, and I plan on being for a while. I mean, look at me. Nobody looks better than me. Nobody talks better than me. Nobody tells better stories than me. Who's gonna take it from me? Nobody. Come on, let's get real. But in 3-4 years, maybe somebody will be on the come up. One of my proteges, one of my projects, one of my students, one of my liaisons, maybe the perfect catharsis to who I actually am could come and dethrone me and defeat me and send me packing. So that is always, yes, that should be on my mind, and it should be even more so. But then I happen to give so much of myself to others where I do lose focus of myself sometime. Where, I mean, I have a huge match with Matt Cardona, who's another wild creative who's done things his own way. And we're doing the ultimate match of death, which is not a death match. It's the ultimate match of death. That makes it way better. Obviously, parodying deathmatch wrestling. But we have that big match this weekend in Fort Lauderdale, and like putting thought into it, it's, it's been hard because of so many other things. What was the question?
Just what's your mindset about wrestling when you broke into now?
I mean, when you walk into this, and this is a thing I'm telling a lot of people, there's a naivety. Naivety, is that the word?
Yeah. Naivete.
Naivete. Like, I read a lot, but I don't hear a lot. So I do mispronounce big words quite often.
Dude, I'm currently reading Elon Musk's biography, and I mispronounce everybody's name in it. They all have weird names. And I'm like, whatever. I'm just moving forward. I know what I'm reading.
So and so, and what's his name?
Yeah.
There's that mindset, maybe, well, if I need to be in WrestleMania and the world champion, or I didn't make it. And I don't think that's the case. That's probably what I thought. I want to be, what I get in 2003. Dude, when I came into wrestling, hey, what's your dream match? Mine was like, I want to wrestle Kurt Angle for a world title. And they go, yeah, whatever. Okay. Well, I did. And I won.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
like, I accomplished it. Do I want to main event a WrestleMania? Yeah. Do I want to work with guys like Orton and Cena? Yeah. Or while they still go. But if that's not in the cards, like, what's next? Do I need to be? I don't know. I'm trying to think of a highlight. Do I need to be the highest level musical act as a solo? Or could I be somebody that was like little under the radar, but everyone within the industry recognizes somebody that paved the way for these guys, that created a tree with roots and branches that brought about these guys, that did the industry better than, made a bunch of money and then fucked off. So I think the mindset is leave it a better place, leave it more what made me love it, because I think we've gotten far away from what I loved about wrestling.
Mm, for sure. Just so you know, Matt Cardona will be on the show as well.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah. So Chris introduced me to him. And
Guy.
So we'll see. Obviously I'm probably talking to him after your match. So it'll be a different conversation.
You need a ghost whisperer to talk to him. He's gonna be dead.
Dude, I love it, man. And so obviously, again, you've done great things. People know who you are. Your name reverberates beyond, so many other names in the industry, which is true.
Okay. Cool. I like that.
So
I don't know. I have no I don't know, delusions of grandeur, nor do I have any like concepts of I understand. I could be like real famous, or I could be like mediocrely famous. I mean, someone asks, "What do you do?" I'm a B plus celebrity. I'm a B level celebrity. Like, what does that even mean? I'm like, I don't know. So, but yeah, I hope what's being done is recognized, because I kind of stay off the grid and I don't read the internet a lot. If I do read the internet, it's for pointed information for myself and not to like Google search myself or vanity search myself. I do know that when Control Your Narrative got, harassed and, tried to get canceled, that people attacked my social media and my algorithm was destroyed for a year. So I don't know if I get a ton of the feedback or comments, but, whatever. If you reach one, is it worth it? We'll see.
Well, dude, I'll tell you what, man, my show does really well now. But when I started, there was probably like 35 to 40 people that would listen every single week. And I was like, what am I doing? Like, why am I even doing this? Why am I showing up? And somebody ended up reaching out to me from Japan. And they said, because of your show, I decided not to take my life.
Right.
And I realized that's all that matters is the one.
You get that. Had a couple of things of that nature through DMs or things I randomly saw, or somebody you meet. You're like, oh, holy shit. And then it keeps you going. But then there's times too where you wake up, you're like, oh my God, what am I doing? None of this makes sense. So like the reminders do help. And, if you believe in fate and destiny or the universe, whatever, like they usually come at the times you need them the most.
For
so
sure.
Even the conversation too, like I've been like dragging ass till we started talking. And I'm like, I'm in. And I remember there's a quote I had. It's called "Remember who the fuck you are." So you guys can use that. But remember who you are.
Yeah.
And then do it, right?
Dude, I love it. I love it. So I want to ask you a question that I ask every single person on this show. It's a 2-part question. The first part is, what is your definition of success? The second part is, what are 3 things you do every single day to ensure that success for yourself?
Definition of success is self-actualization. And I don't know if you've ever had the peak moments, but it's a Maslow thing too. But having the moments where you transcend yourself and you're almost like everything slows down and you're truly in a moment that you've worked hard to get, like I think that is success. And I've had a lot of successes. I've had a lot of near ones. I've had a lot of failures. I've had a lot of big misses. But I could point to a few things where there's a feeling you can't describe. And it does go away. And that's why it's such a like drug. And it's so hard to let go or to not chase the next one because it's so enthralling to have. But I'd say it's the moments of self-actualization, or I think moments of success are in the lifetime of who you are, where you're plateaued when you jump up a level. So hope that's a decent answer.
It's a great answer. And what are 3 things you do every day to ensure it for yourself?
Right now I use an infrared sauna blanket. That's brand new. It's so much pain. I mean,
is it helping?
Yeah, really. Bond charge. Use promo code EC3.
There you
go. Sheet plug. Well, it's got to be something physical. It's got to be something mental. And it's got to be something spiritual. So whatever that may be, 3 things you do every day: physical, train, eat well, have a release of sorts that's, I guess, therapeutic, mentally, acquire, gather information, learn something, hone your skills, mentally, mental acuity would be good. And then spiritual, I would think, it's probably the hardest one because it's often neglected, but like, what can you do to ensure that you are on your right path, I
Hmm.
guess, whichever deity you believe in.
Sure. What's spirituality mean to you?
How to pick up chicks mostly. Oh, I'm into crystals. Want to see
Are
my
you?
collection? Oh yeah, spirituality
Wait,
to
I
me.
can't tell. Are you really?
Yes and
Uh,
yes. It was both. Both I use it as a ploy, but also, I have a bunch of crystals. So
But you're like, I kind of get it. So my wife is actually a certified crystal healer. That's all I
sweet.
know about it. And I have a crystal on my desk. I don't know what it means, but I have that. It's like something. I don't know.
Ask her about Moldavite.
I will. I will.
Changed my life. That's what made me believe. But yeah, so I use it as a creep move, but I also use it in reality. So Moldavite was kind of like huge and hilarious. Uh Spirituality to me, I guess, is no matter what you believe, the pursuit of something greater than yourself.
I love that. It's actually a really strong answer. Really, really
Yeah,
strong
dude, I,
answer.
I don't know where that came from.
It came from a source higher than yourself, right? Like that's the answer. There it is. I love it, man. So what's next for EC3? Like what is on the docket? What's the exciting stuff coming up?
I mean, we have a lot of things going. So NWA growth is good. I'm the champion. Like I said, we have the ultimate match of death with Matt Cardona. But upon that, it's kind of like, I don't know, stabilizing that company and making us a force to be reckoned with and making people take notice. And what do you have to do? What do I have to do? Same thing. I'm doing a lot of business with OVW. They have something good going on. Mick Foley's showing up now, like names are showing up, and it's not a financial money grab for anything because there was money there. Everyone would be, I don't know, siphoning and sucking at the teat of it, but like there's something building, and I have a lot of faith in Al Snow as a trainer and a mentor and a coach. So doing that kind of business with him, building my own where I'm to others what Al would be to me. And that's another reason I go to him is because people are coming to me now and I don't know shit. That's the only thing I know is I don't know shit, is what I like to say. But I do have my opinions and my ideas. But going to a guy like him, I can still learn from somebody who learned from somebody, and that's passing knowledge down the tree, I guess we kind of talked about. But doing that within Exodus and NWA and what may come from that, then I think outside of it's like trying to find what else is. There's a million things I'd like to love, but what else can I do? Then how do I get a social media? How do I get a virtual assistant or a social media person to control me and make all this stuff make money? That's something. So if there's anybody who wants a job, I have a lot of things that can make money and I don't know how to do it.
Mm,
So hit me.
for sure. And so obviously, you're also the OVW champion, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay, good. Because I didn't read the results from the other night, and I know that you wrestled a match. So I was like, okay, I didn't want to assume. So are you going to appear on season 2 on Netflix?
I haven't. Have they confirmed it?
I think so. I think I read something that they're going to be doing a season 2, I believe.
Okay, then because I'm not there all the time, I might miss things in translation. If there is, I would assume there'd probably be. That's kind of the reason I start like, yeah, of course. How are you not going to have me on reality TV? I'm a nightmare. They're going to make me the ultimate hero or the ultimate villain. It's going to be awesome. No, and I think too, man, what we were just talking about outside of this, control your narrative as a mindset and an ideal is not something that is made for wrestling. So I've written like kind of a book. It's based in wrestling on that kind of ideal mindset, but being able to take that because I think this shit's like I said, Goggins light. This is Jocko, not as cool. This is Tony Robbins without as big of hands, kind of stuff that I wrote. That is just like if somebody I can throw it down and jot it out. but organization and structure, presentation, no clue. So something I'd like to make more public and how to do it right.
For
Right.
sure. For sure. Well, let me ask you this. Obviously, at the end of your life, you have this catalog of work that is all over the internet, all over streaming services, all over the place. But say that all goes away. And at the end of your life, you can only be remembered for one sentence. What would you want that sentence to be?
Come on. Part of me wants to rock and roll, deal with it.
There you go. I love it, man. So I wrap up every single interview with the same question. But before we get there, how do people find you? How do they follow you? What's all the good stuff?
Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, X. Thanks, Elon, which I do like X.
Do you like the name X?
I don't hate it. It's hard to, hey, I just shot off an X.
Yeah.
I like the idea of it. I don't know if I like the name, and it's going to be a hard segue, but I do like what Elon's doing because all he's doing is just letting people talk, and that was the fucking point. Part of my language. Yeah, what am I at? TherealEC3 at the real EC3. Inquiries EC3 at FREEEC3.com, free EC3.com. I really didn't think of that handle. It's a lot of E's, but EC3 is there. Where am I at too? I don't know. I debate every day if I should have a TikTok. I don't want it. But
It's a lot of work.
See, I don't have time. Okay, well, if I get a virtual assistant, I'll get a TikTok. What else? How else do you get a hold of me? I don't know. Fucking throw 3 stripes up into the moonlit sky and I might appear like Batman. That can But yeah, those are the handles, those are the socials. I don't know. I stay off the grid. I need to be a better self-promoter.
There you go. I think you're doing all right, man. I like what you're doing. So with that being said, I wrap up every single interview with the same question. And the question is, in your life, what has been your biggest moment of growth?
Probably forgiving somebody who I thought did me wrong and letting it go.
It's a big one.
Yeah.
It's a real big one. Dude, EC3, thank you so much, man, for coming on and sharing your wisdom with my audience. This has been a lot of fun. Hopefully we can do another round in the future and see where you're at, dude. This has been great.
I would love to. This is awesome. Thank you very much.